Hey guys, this is Krog 2003. We're doing a little color commentate on the raw footage for my Anatomist library run. First up, you want to attack during the day. The map is always kind of revealed the same, but if you attack at night, you get the stupid debuff. Don't do that. First up, we got my Nimble tank. He was one of my starting brothers. We have my Hammer brother. He's a Hedge Knight. I gave my Hedge Knight the second wind. Then I have my best dodge, Quick Hands. He's got a lot of attack. I gave him no potion. The flail guy, he's my meme build slash. He ended up being a really good roll, so I gave him a cat potion because of that maimed foot. Otherwise, he's too slow, even for Ancient Undead. My cleaver bro, he's a sword master. I got him for $3,000. He was one of my best brothers. I found him early on. The axe guy, he was probably my second best brother that I bought early on. I found him for like $5,000. That was a Hedge Knight that was level 3 with meh gear. Then I had my Battle Forge tank that you guys saw there. I gave him, I think, a potion as well. But the two Hedge Knights I definitely gave a second wind to. I probably didn't bother with the cleaver guy. He has the direwolf potion that saves fatigue on misses, and he's got recover. And then all four of my tempo hybrids I kind of showcased in the video. My two best guys I keep towards the middle of my formation here. I give them some heavier throwing weapons. You can see the guy towards the top. I gave him my famed throwing spears. Normally these are a bad idea. Any kind of throwing spears here because everything's resistant to pierce, but there were 7 of them in a stack and they had a little extra damage, so they could reliably 2-shot a jar if needed. But he also has some axes. I also personally hate with a passion these treasure hunters. They're a total trap. I go over in my video. I think I forgot to mention in my video that they also might have Backstabber. I don't think they have Duelist, but like sometimes it feels like it. Like these things, if you take them lightly, will totally mess things up right off the bat for you. Another run I intended to record, but I accidentally saved over it, was this Poacher run I've mentioned a couple times. And that run, the guy that ended up bleeding to death, he got smacked around by one of these very early and took a neck injury, which normally not a big deal. You finish the fight before he bleeds out from that. But in this one, because like you're going for so many rounds, he ended up bleeding out on like turn 12. So he lost like half his hit points, all his armor, to like a scimitar, or yeah, I think it was a scimitar guy. And it it made the fight a lot harder because these things do hit. They have 85 melee attack. They have Backstabber, I'm pretty sure. They have a decent amount of hit points. So I brought this holy water and those spears specifically to murder these things quickly. So here I even think about using a net. I end up throwing an axe at that guy. I don't think the net was going to do much because I just kill him next turn anyway. So I don't think I used that net the whole game. I gave my banner this, this he looks like the witch doctor from the Darkest Dungeon. So I gave him that hat because I'm just going to stick him in miasma and he's going to just take less miasma damage. I just need him to be in areas to buff my guys. He also has some throwing spears. Here I used the holy water on the guy I haven't killed yet. I got lucky and it splashed onto the guy that was low health, so he's just toast. These scimitar guys are very dangerous. So what I'm doing here is I also moved my Nimble tank up here to see where the honor guard spawns. Sometimes you'll get a jar that spawns in this top corner above him, and there will also be honor guard around it. So you want to be careful not to go too crazy with your jar hunters or your jar commandos. Sometimes you'll get an honor guard that peels off and starts chasing them. It's quite annoying. But otherwise, you can see I have a tank up north and a tank down south. And what I want to do there is I kind of want to get a couple clumps of guys. So I'm already thinking about the mass resurrection. I want their guys to be sort of spread out into little manageable clumps so that I can hold them up again with my tanks later in the fight. The two guys that I'm sending out wide here, Niels, you can see he has a Lionheart potion. I always give that to my jar hunters. I've had runs before where their morale wasn't very good. I just didn't give them any potion. And I think the lore master targeted them because of that. And he just started crushing them with horror. I think it's infinite range. Like he can basically cast any spell anywhere on the map. There's not a ton of information on like the ins and outs of this fight. So a lot of it's anecdotal and like I've done some tests. But I find that if I have some guys like my three damage dealers here, my two hedge knights and my cleaver swordmaster, they don't have the potion, but I'm keeping them near the banner, so I can always rally them if needed. Putting some damage on that scimitar guy. I'm setting up my flail guy to get matched up against the shield honor guard. Shield honor guards are pretty annoying. You'll see in this fight I kind of get some low roll on hits on them, and they slow you down enough. We'll kind of get to it. I end up shield breaking two of them, which is pretty rare for me to even shield break in general, but I just needed to make moves, and they were annoying. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to kill this group of 5 honor guards to the north and the group of 2 honor guards and the last treasure hunter to the south. I think I also already picked up the weapons from 2 of those treasure hunters. So the reason why I did that is because I find the treasure hunter weapons to be far more dangerous, unless you get lucky and it's a shamshir, than the pole arm that they'll spawn with. So in this fight, if any of these guys die and their weapon disappears, like there's a % chance the weapon doesn't drop, like you don't see the little money bag next to their corpse, or you pick up their weapons, when they get resurrected by the lore keeper or by one of his ghosts, they'll have a sword lance, which I don't think that weapon personally is nearly as dangerous as the tier 3 scimitar or the southern mace. The southern mace puts a lot of fatigue damage on you as well as armor damage. And armor will go a long way in this fight because of the skulls and stuff. Like we'll see that later. So here I'm just using some my heavy barbarian throwing axes on the ancient undead. If you're a newer player, the idea is you take throwing mastery. You get a damage boost if you're 2 tiles or 3 tiles away. You take duelist, so you have more ignore armor. And the barbarian throwing axes, you with a 5% aim penalty versus the regular throwing axes, you get a damage increase. So here we found a jar right up north. This is good. These are nice to just kind of kill pretty easily. We'll talk about the jars once it's time to start killing them. I'm just physically probably writing them down right now. You'll see it take some time occasionally in this fight to just kind of pause, zoom out and all that. That's me taking notes and just verifying what's what. It's easy to get kind of in a flow state when you're in the fight and then forget where you are with those jars. But yeah, what I was saying before was, I don't remember. Let's just keep rolling. So I'm not moving towards this shield guy because I have a feeling he's going to go into this like bodyguard unit around the lore keeper. The lore keeper, like a necromancer, kind of holds guys. Oh, I was talking about this throwing. So quickly, duelist, throwing master. You look how much damage I just did to that honor guard's health. I didn't move him closer because I didn't want him to get piked. In a shorter fight, I may have taken that risk. It may have even killed that honor guard, but I want my armor to last longer in this fight. Yeah, there you go. Aegon, just doing work. The so this bodyguard unit around him, they'll surround him and just do whatever they got to do to protect him. So like at this point early on, I just ignore them. Like they'll maneuver around him. It's like almost irrelevant. Like they don't do anything. They don't hit you. They just walk around the lore master. You're not going to kill the lore master at this point. Just having a little coffee, trying to do this before work. The lore master has like 260 hit points. Found 2 more jars there. This is a good spawn. With 1 thrower, you could probably eliminate all 3 of these jars in, call it a round, right? So you wait with that thrower, so he goes at the end of the round. You kill 2 jars, or maybe you kill 1 because you miss a throw. And then they're usually going to have higher initiative because they're nimble, and the backgrounds that make decent throwers are all like pretty good initiative backgrounds. And then you can take out the other 2 jars or 1 jar and kind of move on. So here I also found another 2 jars. It's my first raise jar. This is a pretty good spawn. Granted, the jars are going to move up and down, so it's a little irrelevant but it's good to know. So here, once again, I hate these treasure hunters. So I'm kind of going a little above and beyond. Oh, they have reach advantage too. I did not realize that in my video. Yeah, they're kind of a threat. Do not take them lightly. Like ancient undead weapons, whatever, but they hit you, these treasure hunters, with some serious weapons. There we go. He goes down. That was a headshot too. Granted, it was low health. They're one of the few undead that do not have steel brow, so headshots do critical damage to those treasure hunters. All right. Roger getting it done. He was one of my starting anatomists. He's the guy with stars and ranged and melee attack. He was probably one of my best brothers this entire run. Brought him to the monolith. He had probably average 2 to 3 kills a round or a game. Sorry, a battle. Just super strong brother. I brought him on every fight but the Ishirak, so it was a cool way to keep track of how many battles I've been in. So here I'm just clearing out these honor guard. I made a mistake getting a little too close to this one. But now we're going to move to deal with this shield guy because I need to free up this tank to kind of maneuver him. So here I'm kind of thinking what to do with Markov. You can see his fatigue pool is about halfway full. He has the second wind potion. So I'm going to want to think about how I can recover some of his fatigue here in these early rounds. Like this right now is a great time to take things a little slower. Just a little bit. So I'm starting to find most of my jars. I'm writing them down on my paper. I think we're at like 6 or 7. Note that like if your brothers can see the jars, they'll like pop up on the edge of your screen. But as soon as you break line of sight with them, they won't show up. So you kind of should write them down. I don't recommend killing them as you go. Some people do it. I'm going to post examples in my guide description. There's some players that have done it and done it pretty well. Like Deductor just did it recently. It makes the fight escalate kind of quickly. I like to be patient at this stage. There's no rush. They're not in a rush, so why should you? So I'm going to finish off these honor guard and get in place to start kind of assaulting these bodyguards here. And depending on what weapons they have, you can kind of like position guys with reach weapons around them and just start smacking them, and they won't do anything. Like they'll just sit there and take it. So all right, foot fetish. Let's talk about this guy. He was a He was a fisherman. Early on, he had some decent stars, like 50 attack, 2 stars. And fishermen in general have decent base stats, like fatigue and health. And I was like, oh, he's just going to be fodder. He rolled brute. And so I was like, oh, with gifted, he'll make it into the 80s with brute. Like, that's pretty good. Like, if he survives, we'll do something. Well, he got his ass kicked in a battle. Fun fact, Anatomist not having confident. Mass route is like always a problem. So this battle was against some brigands. I think I like outnumbered them even. I wish I recorded it, but I hadn't even thought about recording anything for anything at this point. So I'm just smacking this honor guard with Markov here, just moving out of its range. Like, what's he gonna do? Absolutely nothing. He's just gonna take it like a bitch. And so back to that Raider fight, there was like 9, and I think I had like 10 or 11. My guys overall were decent. I'm winning the fight. Like, I've killed like 2 Raiders. It's like now 7 on 11. And this brigand marksman just starts owning me. Like, he hits these crossbow shots on guys that are like covered by cover, or other guys like 30% shots. It's causing morale problems. Other raiders hit my guys, and like I get a mass rout, and I'm like, great. So this one I didn't do Iron Man because like I just wanted to fully experience the Anatomist, like figure out all the ins and outs, spoiler free. Work was really busy and stressful, so this was a little bit of a release from all that. And I kind of wanted to play along a little bit on the Doctor's map for his playthrough. But anyway, I'm like, this is going to be a wipe and reload. So I had 2 of those in that run. I had a third one, but I had like 2 beers. I'm a lightweight now. My college days are long gone, which is good. It's a lot cheaper, But anyway, and I was a little reckless, and I was just like, what am I doing? So I reloaded and started over. But I had 2 wipes early on. One against some bounty hunters, which isn't surprising. I probably wouldn't have taken that fight on Iron Man, just give them the head. It was on like day 8. Like they smashed me. I tried a couple times just for fun. But these Raiders, I was totally winning. Mass rout on my hands. I didn't have the banner at this point. The fisherman was one of these people who kind of hung in there, and I ended up winning the fight, and this marksman killed him with a freaking hatchet. He killed 2 people in melee when it was like 2 Raiders left and 5 of my guys. It was such garbage. So I was like, oh, well, lost all this fodder, but this guy survived, and he got his maimed foot. And that was fortunately after I picked dodge. So dodge was basically worthless at this point. All right, so what you see me do there is I keep my morale up. The Anatomists are very vulnerable, as I just said, to mass routes. So while I'm just kind of exploring, see, right now is a good time to peel off some of your support. So that guy's Roger. I'm going to plan to deal with those 3 jars with Roger. I don't need him to deal with these bodyguards. That was just a free kill from Markov. So I'm just chipping away at these bodyguards. Right now is probably when I'm thinking about cracking that shield of that Ancient Honor Guard, because I need to free up that tank. I need to bring my flail guy up, and I need to peel off my other thrower that's helping out there. He's just slowing things down. Like, I'm not in a rush right now, but he's also just slowing things down. It's kind of annoying. So I crack it. It doesn't break. He doesn't have axe mastery. But I know I need to kill him in the next round or 2. I have fatigue. I have health. So it's one of the few times I would say break a shield if you need it. Normally, you don't break shields outside of strat fights. It's just not usually a good tactical decision. So back to foot fetish while it's calm and boring. So he maimed his foot, and so immediately I was like, oh well, let's give him a goofy name. So I'm a Pats fan, so I don't know if any of you guys are football fans. I don't know if anyone even will watch these videos, hopefully, but Rex Ryan got a lot of grief because him and his wife made some goofy video where he likes her feet That's cool. Like they're keeping it freaky when they're 50s. Like good for them. But naturally, everyone had fun with it. Um, so I just like I love Rex Ryan. I think he's wildly good for the league and entertaining. But anyway, so I I was like, all right, let's name him Foot Fetish because now he's got a maimed foot. So he just really appreciates a good foot. I don't know. I fully expected him to die because now at this point, dodge is not very useful on him because it destroys his initiative. So he gets like no dodge value. It's just a dead perk. But he just like stays alive. I just like try to get him killed off, but he just always performs. Eventually, I get this berserk chain, and I'm like, let's give it a shot. He's got brute. He's doesn't have the fatigue to do much anyway. He can only move 3 tiles. I gave him Pathfinder so that it's always 3 AP more or less. And I gave him this berserk chain. I'm like, you're gonna die anyway. Like, let's see how it does. Well, to my surprise, this berserk chain did absolute work. He's only got around 50 fatigue throughout most of his life there. Now he's got 56. So, like, moving and attacking, he'll gain like 3 fatigue ish, 3 to 5. And then if people swing on him, he loses a little fatigue there. But, like, it's really not a big deal. And he ended up killing a lot and doing a lot of damage. I had fights against Orc Warriors where he 2-shot an Orc Warrior. The first one was a headshot, and then the follow-up shot just killed it outright. I also gave him Executioner. I was like, let's go all in on this. And I had a 2-headed flail, like a regular tier 3 2-headed flail, but I ended up never switching to it. And eventually I got the Orc Warlord potion, and I was like, yep. He's now gone from a meme to a god. And you'll see in this fight, he actually does very good. He does like over 1,000 damage. Kills 6 things. I brought him on the monolith. He survived the monolith. I happened to get a headshot queued up, and I moved him next to the Conqueror. I was like, is he finally gonna die here? And he didn't. He ended up dodging the Conqueror, and then I headshotted the Conqueror and killed it with like 130 health left. It was sick. So Foot Fetish went from being an expendable guy. He rolled like an absolute practice hero. Ended up with more attack and defense than he should have, and then survived. So that's the lovely story of him. Okay, so here you just saw we had skulls start to show up. Skulls will start to show up around, I've seen them as early as round 6 without killing any jars, but usually 7 or 8 is a good bet. He'll spawn 4 skulls at a time. I don't know if there's a limit on the map, because honestly, the skulls, once there's a certain amount of them, they will start blowing up on your brothers. So there I cracked the shield because I've like had enough of this guy. He's literally wasted 3 rounds of my time. So now the skulls, it's kind of interesting because, like, to me, I think the biggest threat, especially early and mid, is the horror that he casts, or the fear, whatever it's called. Because you lose turns, and you'll see it's starting to whittle down my morale there. My Scimitar guy never gets his morale back fully this fight, and it kind of slowed him down. It was pretty annoying. He has like 50-something morale normally, plus the banner. So he should be in the 60s. Sorry, resolve. But like, it's a way that the lore master will whittle you down, and that like all your guys will start to waver. You have to spread them out to do well in this fight. So like, it's hard to keep them rallied. So here I'm just planning out, like, the skulls are coming. I'm starting to think about positioning my guys for killing jars. This is the time where you want to start, before we were relaxing, gaining some health back, or getting some fatigue back. Now it's time to start using that fatigue. You saw there, I just set up a berserk kill frenzy. 2 honor guards down. That other honor guard moved up with a shield wall. You'll see that guy becomes extremely difficult to kill. It's a viable second guess that maybe I should have tried to do more adjacency bonus on him. You get a little extra attack. What I was trying to do is start working on the lore master's health pool and like let this dodge quick hands guy here with the famed axe deal with that shield, because that shield is going to be really annoying. What ends up happening is this guy, his morale's already low. He's not hitting very well. I don't even know what that percent chance was that he swung on that shield last time. It wasn't very impressive, so I just split it. That way my hammer guy with kill frenzy can just kill that honor guard and we can get to the lore master. Like, I don't want to take the chance that I low roll and that guy doesn't die. I want to get my 3 damage dealers on the lore master to get him down low. So you can see now I'm thinking about, like, where do I want to place these 2 guys in the back so that I can have a plan to kill these jars. So my 4 throwers here, I'm going to move the guy that's all the way on the left. He's going to go down and kill that jar that's kind of southeast of my party. This guy, my coward gambler, he is going to handle the top right. My hunter, my greedy hunter down there, he's going to handle the bottom right. And then my stud thrower hybrid is going to handle those 3 up north. So I do a little indom. That's strictly because I don't want to take armor damage on my nimble tank. The skulls do okay armor damage, but they do almost no hit point damage. I want to keep his... sorry, got a little notification there. I want to keep his armor up as long as possible. So still thinking about it. I'm just going to pass. He's going to regenerate some of his fatigue. I'm going to rally again. You see my monk has a big fatigue pool. That's because with the Anatomists, I ended up being very aggressive on any kind of wavering after those early days where I had all those annoying chain routes. I also use him here as kind of a sponge because I know he's not really in too much danger. So if anything, I gave him a little bit heavy body armor on purpose. I gave him the 3 headpiece and the 12, the mail shirt, so he has a little bit more body armor so he can eat a skull or 2 for me. So here we're going to sling at that. Look at that. I proc Kill Frenzy and Berserk. Using that sling. It keeps that going for when I want to do the jars. It's very nice. The sling is really good in this fight for several reasons. The first one being that it's got infinite ammo. And those guys in the back, you're not killing anything with any kind of hit points. The ghosts, the skulls, and the jars are all weak. The ghosts aren't like regular guys. Like, you can actually hit them with ranged weapons, and it's viable. So here you'll see I'm getting some adjacency bonus on this polearm guy. The lore master, keep in mind, has underdog, so unless you have a guy with backstabber, adjacency bonus on him is irrelevant. He's got 15 melee defense, so he's quite tanky for an enemy. There I used a spear from my monk thrower hybrid, or my monk thrower banner. Thrower banner is probably my favorite banner. I saw some weird sins do that in one of his like over-explained runs, and I'm a firm believer now. That monk only has like 79 ranged attack, and he averages almost a kill a battle, a little under a kill a battle, which is decent for a banner. But he does a lot of morale damage. Those throwing spears, whether now they're barbarian or regular, my goal with those is to just use his duelist and his I don't know why I dropped that dog. That was kind of foolish, honestly. I I should have waited, but that dog is now going to kill that jar. So I'm kind of rolling with the punches. Although round 11, the mass res and the ghosts are going to start showing up anyway. Like I've done testing where I purposely didn't kill any jars, just tried to stay alive to see how long it takes for him to start using those spells. So killing one jar will speed up when the skulls spawn. So if you kill a jar right off the bat, you're going to start getting skulls on around like 3 or 4. So there you have it, using the regular barb throwing axes to one-shot that. I tested from 4 tiles away, so you don't get a damage bonus with no kill frenzy. And those throw axes, I think, will kill the jar pretty much every time. So you get 5% extra accuracy. So for the 2 deep guys, I highly recommend using the regular throw axes. That was a mistake there, if you noticed. I just kind of clicked fast. Be aware of the cover. That statue was providing cover to that jar. So because I did that stupid throw, I wasted that 4 AP that I could have used on that first jar and to then move Roger back and kill that skull. But instead I had to drop the dog and move him out of danger. So that was a mistake. So the dog right there took care of that low one. As I said, I made a few mistakes on like executing my jar strategy. I talked in the guide a little bit better about like, this one on the ground here is a better thing to just have a brother right there. And then you can kill it and move back to Lore Keeper. That's a great jar to kill first when you're ready to do it. I just kind of made a few mistakes there. It ended up not really mattering because my throwers were all in great positions. So I could just kind of deal with things as they came. All right, here we go. I'll also kind of criticize myself there. I think holding onto that dog a little longer would have been better. Maybe I didn't drop it next to the Lore Keeper, so that one's not doing much. Using that dog to go kill that skull was stupid. I should have hung on to that to the resurrection to distract the honor guards that come back or not. I think in general, my thought might have been to kind of flood the battlefield with dogs. Anticipating that we're going to start having ghosts show up soon. Yeah, it looks like that was just my thought, was dropping the dogs. I am a little behind at this point on the Lore Keeper's health pool. I stabbed there because that guy had no armor. And it was the end of the round anyway, so you might as well. There you go, Foot Fetish, getting it done. All right. Poor dog. Yeah, it's all right. Roger, you're going to take a hit. Get in position to throw another to kill a jar. Yeah, Niels had an easy round. But do be careful. Like, Roger, I didn't notice that cover was right next to the jar, and it split the chance in half. So Roger missed, and I kind of clicked too fast. So some of this cover that's around can be kind of sneaky. You can see that the 2 jars by Roger now moved up. They were previously on the ground. So now they're not covered. So I can throw from there again and not worry about the statue. That was actually good for me. Granted, Roger doesn't kill that one, I don't think. But either way. I'm almost cleared up on the bottom. So Niels was a little fast. So he's moving up towards where my gambler is, who was a little slower. We got kind of those 3 jars right there. And then with 1 jar down low. The one down low, my Nomad thrower will take care of it. He's really good. So I'm not worried about that. He can kill 1 jar. He's got a bunch of ammo left. Not worried. So I usually start smacking the Lore Keeper earlier than this. The fact that he has full health was making me nervous. And now we got all these guys back from the dead. It's really not ideal. So that's while I'm dropping that dog there. Finish that guy off so I can get back to the lore keeper. The dogs come in handy here. See that those scimitar guys are just brutal. But I get my tank over to where I want. I wanted my tank over there so that I could hold that guy up because I didn't get his weapon. Yep, see that nomad thrower is excellent. I'm going to start moving him back towards the lore keeper. He's still got a bunch of throwing axes left. So if the lore keeper, if I screw up the timing a bit at the end and the lore keeper raises himself up, this guy Haran is going to be critical to finishing him off. I can get him from 2 tiles away and do really good damage with the throwing axes. I should have... What is the damage on that? 49? So 49 and 71. So this lore keeper does have a damage reduction, I think, at all times. It's like about half on all weapons. So he has a big health pool. I'm not sure what conditionalizes it. Like, I don't think he has nimble, but it's kind of like he has nimble. It's not just pierce weapons. Like the hammer, the axe. I did a test where I just came in with a 2-handed mace to hit him once and see what he does for damage. It seems to reduce everything. I don't have a good opinion on this. So there we go, Roger, getting it done. Normally pierce weapons are a bad idea, but these have extra damage. Roger has throwing mastery. He's 3 away. Ended up being able to kill that jar. But you see there, I didn't kill the jar. Yep, I'm checking my inventory like, what? Moving closer. I got a ghost there. I usually ignore the ghosts, but Niels has nothing else to do. His weapons aren't going to be very useful against the honor guard. He's got a few of these throwing axes, a sling and a pike. Whereas the sling and the pike will be great for dealing with the ghosts and the skulls. I think I was saying before I got distracted, the skulls in the back are great ways to keep your killing frenzy going. You know, for you just throw 1 stone if you're waiting for your opportunity to kill the jars. Oh man, my nimble tank's in danger here. We'll see how I get out of it. But you can always pop skulls with that sling and basically trade fatigue for your kill frenzy buff and for extra morale. He just hit my thrower there with Wither. That thrower has tons of tons of initiative. He's a hunter, and he's got tons of fatigue still, so it does almost nothing to him. All right, swinging at him, missing. The Cleaver guy's only rolling 59s, so you can see because of his morale damage there and the 15 melee defense, it's not ideal. All right, switch the Orc Flail. Yeah, here we go. So I smash this dude, move over into the lightning from the Lore Master. So here, we're going to try to kill this jar. I move 2. I try to stay on the bricks. It's a little more fatigue efficient, and he hits, and you can see it kills it. You want that extra 5% with those deep guys because you're going to be throwing at elevation. So they're up to elevation, so it's like minus 20%. That extra little bit, you'll get another plus 5 versus the barbarian throwing axes. So it just gives you a little bit better chance. So I'm thinking about hunkering down here. That guy has a potion so he can shield wall all the time. I kill the Lore Master here. Aegon is just an absolute bruiser. So now I'm just trying to think about how to clean up and keep my guys healthy. We were able to pretty efficiently kill a bunch of the jars in the back. This guy, Sigbold, got a little caught on that resurrection. That's what I said, like, it's hard to tell, but those shield bros those shield honor guard taking forever to die. My guys were a little out of position, and that lore keeper had more health than I wanted at round 10. So that's kind of why I was like, I have to shield break. I have to make sure that these things die, in a turn or two, so that I kind of went for the sure thing. Is it I could have gotten more lucky, but with that shield plus the shield wall that they're always going to throw up, it's a lot of defense. They have shield mastery, so like my guys have 90 plus defense, but it was just too slow. And you can see here I took a little bit extra damage. The lore keeper had a little extra health. If you can get to the lore keeper a little sooner, see how I picked up that scimitar. The ghost will resurrect singular units. They can't do a mass res, but I just don't want to deal with that scimitar anymore. It hurts. It killed 2 dogs in one shot. Like, no thanks. At this point, the battle is pretty much won. Only 20 guys left. Only like 5 of them are threats. None of them have armor. I'm basically just trying to aggressively save that nimble tank. Like everything in the back of the map is irrelevant at this point. There's dogs running around. My jar hunters at this point are going to be very good at killing all that crap. The sling and the goblin pike marry very nicely with AP use because I can quick hands to the goblin pike and swing it for 5 AP. So first I could throw a stone and then quick hands to that pike and swing it without polearm mastery, so it saves me a perk. Although polearm mastery on like a hybrid is objectively a good choice, I just didn't do that. So here we go. Sling time. So he's got tons of armor. I'm just going to eat that skull there. No factor. He's got nimble. So I go here and see what happens. I think there's a sweet. Yep. So I have a lot of attack. I bumped that dude. That zombie I don't think has polearm mastery. So he only got a 13 swing. It's something the AI never really anticipates you doing. It's like moving through their zone of control with a tank. Like 13% chance to is pretty good. So like you would take that chance leaving him there, but I moved him up. I shield bumped that the sword, the 2-handed sword, honor guard. Now I'm going to prepare to shield wall and move my nimble tank out from that polearms zone of control. Yeah, you can see those throwers and the dogs are just totally cleaning that up, no problem. If that zombie had a sword or a scimitar or a mace, I wonder if that would have been a little bit more of a chance. So I moved there, 24% chance. That was a pretty good odds. If I had shield walled there, I was guaranteed to eat that lightning. He was probably going to die. There we go. Markov is also a bruiser. He's one of my best brothers. With him, I went quick hands on him versus like a weapon mastery. So that way I could use many different item combinations with him. I got him early, so I needed that. So he's not like the most ideally built hedge knight, but honestly, it ended up being really good. He was very flexible in what I could load him out with. In terms of 2-handers, I could give him whips. Like if like certain fights might have required it, I could give him daggers if I wanted some armor. The other hedge knight is built like a classic 2-handed hammer, reach advantage, steel brow, not quick handsing ever. He just moves up and smacks stuff, and you can put him in danger. Let's see. So the ghost will have a singular resurrection. I think at this point, that spell is a waste of their turn. The ghosts have a single spell they can cast, and it's like a very dumbed down version. So they can resurrect a guy, or they can summon like 2 skulls. They can cast Wither, which at this point is not going to do anything to me. Or, oh, there we go. My scimitar guy finally comes alive. Yeah, he had a rough fight. He didn't perform too well. He's one of my best brothers. He has over 90 attack. But the ghosts, like once they're not supported by the Lich's three spells that are very powerful, they're kind of whatever. So another doggo dies. I think I lose. Yeah, I've lost. Oh, I still have 3 on the board. So 3 out of 10. Not bad. I think I finish with all 3 of those guys surviving. But at this point, there's only 7 enemies. It's over. So I'm thinking about throwing stones at this dude. Doing some fatigue math. Yep. I'm realizing that's not going to do it. Don't do it. I already kind of messed up. So the stone, 37% chance. I guess they do have some range defense. So maybe they're not quite like Geist. Maybe they're more like Necro Savants, where they just get like half of your range defense like against you. Maybe they have anticipation. I don't know. There we go. Easy work for him. There you go. Throw banner getting it done. That was a 94%. So guys, like, throw banners. That monk had like 40 something range skill starting, and he had like I think 1 or 2 stars. And throwing, I got him up to 79, which seems like it sucks, but for what he's doing is very good. I can just get him close to the fight, and he can throw on guys with 90+% chances. And when he hits with Fearsome and Duelist, he's gonna proc a lot of morale, and because his morale is very high, it's gonna hurt the overall morale of the enemy, especially in Orc and Chosen fights, where you have a high priority target, you move him in. You're not necessarily aiming to kill him, but if you get him to wavering or breaking, that enemy is basically useless. And he's pretty easy to maneuver around. The 4 AP weapons with the banner synergize very nicely. You can swap to throw weapon, throw it, and then swap back to your banner. Oh, missed. It's all right. 1 ghost left. This fight is over. Hopefully you guys didn't mind me rambling here, but overall, this is probably one of my better library attempts in recent memory. I guess I haven't done this in a while. Until recently I kind of had the idea to put together a guide because there's not really many resources on the internet about it. A lot of stuff is a little old at this point, but there are a couple gems out there. I hope this does bring some more people to try out this legendary location. I was kind of surprised at how little people had this achievement, and there's a lot of new players into the game, a lot of people coming back to the game, so there's a lot of intermediate players to expert players. So I kind of wanted to share some of the little nuggets that I've found with this fight. Maybe make your fight a little easier. I'm just going to pause this screen for myself so I can look at their damage. Make this fight a little easier for you. Take it a little sooner, or just make it smoother. Or get your first library run. So here at the damage screen, we can see that we have my hybrids there. So starting with Roger, he had 8 kills. He did okay. He did very good at killing the honor guard early on, but he kind of had some jar problems that were my fault. I had that throw against the jar the jar was in cover that I didn't notice. Rolo did a great job tanking. He made it through. He's a little nicked up, but not bad. You can see my man Foot Fetish with 1,000 damage, 6 kills. He's great against honor guards. He crushes them with that flail. You could see throughout the fight he never had fatigue problems. At this point, he had the Orc Champion trophy, so that's going to help there. Ashime, whatever his name is, he's my gambler. He did pretty good. Killed 2 jars. or whatever skulls, but he was mainly down there with his dog. His dog did a lot of work. Actually, I don't even know if it counts those jars as kills, but he cracked a lot of jars. My tank, my Battleforge tank, you see, took some damage, but not much. He did a great job. The Battleforge tanks here do a really good work, especially I like the Lone Wolf. You can put them in those clumps and leave them alone, and as long as you keep them out of the lightning, they're great. In which case, like, you can just walk out of the lightning because their defense is going to be so good. The you can see the dodge quick hands guy did really well. My other hybrid did really well. My cat's meowing at me. My hunter Niels, he had a great library. Held a bunch of jars. The cleaver, you can see, kind of struggled. I needed him to do a little better, but my bottom two, my battle forged hedge knights, carried his kind of mistakes. Where, if you have a good hammer guy, you could just buy some hammers and give them to your guys with best melee attack. Did a lot of damage, really crushed them. In hindsight, probably would have given Markov a mace. I'm pretty sure I had one at the time, so I'm not sure why I went with the great axe versus the mace here. But that would be a second guess on my loadout. All right, well, thanks for watching, and maybe I'll make some more videos. We'll see. Who knows?